just a working man. He's trying to make a living any way he can, and he'll break his back for $1.02. Oh, there ain't no shame in what he do. Oh, work it out.
Okay, welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. Today we're going to, my niece recently got engaged and she's getting ready to get married. We're going to make a really nice sign for her. We're going to start from scratch. Now, a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to do this sign out of oak, but before I cut it, I'm actually going to cut a whole different piece out of a piece of plywood just to make sure, because the oak is real expensive and I don't want to make a mistake. So right here, our width is going to be 28 inches. Our height is 11.25, 11 and a quarter. And our thickness is going to be 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. Everything's going to be, we're going to do regular standard resolution because it's just going to be a V carve. We'll go ahead and hit OK. Okay, there's our sign. Well, we'll look and see which ones look the best. So his name is Nolan and Brianna. That's not the cursive I want. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to look and see which cursive. So I had found one earlier that I liked. And it was a little fancier. So let's see if we can find it again. I don't have a lot of cursive in my library, but there was one that looked pretty good. That's it right there. Okay, so let me know what you think of that. Now, let's see if we made it bold. I think bold's going to be better. So now we want that to be, yeah, that looks good. And then down in the middle here, so we're going to go ahead and do another text. This time we're going to do all caps. And we're going to put his last name, Barnhart. Now this needs to be a different type of font. We need to just go with a bold font and not that one. So we're going to go ahead and put this one right up there in the middle. And we're going to go ahead and center it side to side. Now what we want to do is stretch this thing. Actually, I don't know if I like that font. So let's go back to text and let's look at some different fonts here. There's what we want right there, I believe. Let me see if that's what I did before. Now the next thing we need to do, we're going to stretch this out a little bit. We want the Barnhart to be a little bigger than the Nolan, so we're going to stretch it out a little bit. Let's go ahead and check side to side, make sure it's center. It did move a little bit. Now, what you need to do is see how close it is between the A and the R, and the R and N is touching right there. So what you want to do is go up here where the arrow is, where it says AB, and then hold your shift key down, and you can separate that a little bit. Now you'll have to recenter it after you do this. See how it's close up there? You don't want them that close when you're doing the V carve, because they could run into each other. Barnhart. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to double check side to side. And it's perfect. Okay. Let's double check the upper one, side to side. And that one moves. Okay. All right, click out of that. Now down below, we need to say basically the date of their wedding, because that'll be basically established. We're going to do capital, let's see, we're going to do capital E and then ST period, and then we'll do October 12th, comma, 2024. Okay, now that's obviously too big, so we want that to be small. And we're going to move that to the center here. And we're going to check it side to side. And that moved. Okay, now what we need to do is, that's looking pretty good so far, but we need to put some hearts in there. We're going to bring that in. Now what we need to do with this, we need to go over here to this little chicken, I believe. And we're going to trace bitmap, black and white, preview, looks good, and apply. Now we can close that. Now we can delete this picture, and we should be left, delete, and there you can see the heart we're left with. Now I'm going to move that. It's going to be down here, but I need to resize it. And that's about the size I want. And I want it to be turned. It needs to be a little smaller. Okay, I like that. Okay, now we want to put the exact same one on the other side. So we go up here to Mirror Objects, flip About the Job, and flip Horizontal. You put one exactly in the same spot over there. So there's the sign. Nolan and Brianna Barnhart, established October 12, 2024. And I'm so happy for her, actually. Okay, so we're going to go up here. We're going to go to our toolpath. Now, I've decided to make this really simple. Now, the only thing hard about this is we're going to do it on an oak piece of wood, which isn't hard, but we don't want to make a mistake, so we're going to do a practice one on a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, a cheap piece of plywood. Okay, we'll go over here to V-carve. Now start depth, I put 0.05, and we're going to just do a 1502 V-carve bit, and I'll show you a picture of one right here. Offset just like that, and calculate. Continue anyway, let's see what happens. Everything looks like it's been cut out. So now we're going to preview. And there it is. You want to kind of detail look at it, make sure everything looks okay. I believe it looks pretty good. Let me know in the comments what you think, but I think that's going to look really good. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll put this on a USB and we'll go over to the machine and cut this out. We'll do a practice one first and a piece of plywood. Make sure that the depth that it's cutting, everything looks good. And then we'll put the piece of oak on and we'll cut it out of oak. All right, I'll see you over at the machine. Okay, we're gonna get ready to cut this, and we're gonna go ahead and go down our whole checklist. And come on in. First thing we do is go ahead and turn on Mach 4. That's the program that I'm using. This is version Warp 9, I guess. Now we're going to go down here and enable our machine. So now we can move it around. Now I want to raise this up so that I can bring it back closer a little bit. Okay, what I usually do is when you're doing a V-carve, you can't really, so when you're using your touch plate, you can't really do an XYZ with a V-carve bit. So what I'll do is I'll change this bit to a straight cut bit, I'll do the XYZ, and then change it back to the V-carve and just do a Z. And that'll give me a perfect cut. Anyway, I'm gonna change this bit to a straight cut bit. We're gonna mount our wood in here and get ready to go. Now I like to put before I mount my material, I like to put these pins down here and use those to give me a straight edge right there. And then what I'll do is I'll use some T-track clamps. The only thing with the T-track, you want to make sure that you're out of your clamps, you want to make sure they're out of your design so you don't go hitting them with your T-track clamp or your router bit. So I usually will go in the corners and then I'll double check my drawing before I cut. to make sure that these clamps are out of the cutting zone. Let's see. Now before I cut, I'm going to move that one to that corner, but right now I need to put my XYZ plate on that corner, but I want to have this plywood flush down, so that'll make sure all my material's even. Yeah, a long time ago, I was doing some pretty intricate cuts with a V-carve bit, and I would go down and I would XYZ on the touch plate and cut my project. But I noticed, and I couldn't understand why everything kept going wrong. It wasn't center of my project, and what it was it was off by like a half an inch to one side or the other, because I was XYZing with the V-carve bit. So now every time I do an XYZ, I use a straight cut bit, switch them out, and then do a touchdown with the V-carve bit, and that seems to work pretty good. So let's get our computer up here. I need a better place to put my computer. For now, it's going to have to do. Okay, let's move this over. Get it in position. What I like to do is connect it and double check that it's active. Yeah, it's working good. Okay, we're going to start the XYZ process. Oh, it's going to make me home the machine first. So I already missed one step. I need to home my machine before I do the XYZ. So let's get that started. Takes a minute. It's going to go through its homing procedure. Okay, once the homing's done, then we can do our XYZ. That's why it's important to go over your checklist. So the homing sequence is done. Now we can do our XYZ. Get that in the middle. Type in our size of our bit. 0.25. Left corner. Okay, we're going to do the Z first. It'll go down and touch the plate. Come back up. Beautiful. Now we're going to do the Y-axis. And the Y-axis is this way. And you just make sure your flute on your bit is aimed at it. And then it's going to come over and do the X-axis, which is this way. Beautiful. Now, what I've learned is I can just go over here, I can Z up, switch the bit out, and then just do a touchdown, and the Y and the X will stay the same. Make sure we got a really sharp bit for that oak material. Okay, now we're going to do a touchdown. Let's get her down there a little further. Go to our touch plate, left-hand corner. So we're just going to touch down. We're not going to do an XY, and that'll keep us right in the same ballpark. Beautiful. Raise the bit back up. Get rid of our touch plate. Okay, next up we load our program into the computer. Okay, so you can see right there, it's in the machine now. Going down the checklist, we need to do a warm up of our spindle. So we'll do that right now. Okay, I've gone through the whole checklist, warmed up my spindle, I got my vacuum on, I've checked the program, everything's looking good. So what I want to do is move this to this corner. That way my bit doesn't hit it. All these are nice and tight. Okay, it looks good. This is ready to start, so we'll go ahead and start. Okay, looking at the plywood, it looks like it turned out good. So, next up will be go ahead and we're going to put in the oak piece. So you can see, you want to check these lighter, make sure the depth's okay. And actually it came out really nice. I think it's going to be fine. So we're going to go ahead and put in our oak. And we'll go ahead and cut it. Now, the only thing I should have done I took this off too soon. I should have had the position. So now I'm going to have to XY on the oak piece again. But I won't have to do the Z. Oh shit. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because now I don't know where that XY is. So now I have to re-XY with the straight cut bit. That's a learning lesson. So normally I would have a couple pins over here I would know exactly where to put it. But since I didn't have any pins over here and I took it off, now I'm going to have to XYZ with a straight cut bit and then change that bit out again. I won't bore you with that, but I'll start back as soon as I start cutting the oak. Okay, there you go. One nice little sign. What I'll end up doing is I'll paint these letters and then sand it all off. I'll router this edge and then put some clear over it, or some maybe even some oil on it. And yeah, anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. But this is a piece out of oak, and we did our test piece out of the plywood and thought it came out pretty nice. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video, and please subscribe, like it if you like it, and I will see you next time. Later. Here's what it looks like at the bridal shower.
There he goes, it's a working man. He's trying to make a living any way he can, and he'll break his back for $1 or $2. Oh, there ain't no shame in what he do.